Hello friends, welcome to Civil Dunya. This is the video of chapter 2 of module 2. In this video, we will going to learn startups and business incubation, setting up a small enterprise, issues relating to location. Okay, so let's get started. A startup is a young company founded by one or more entrepreneurs to develop a unique product or service and bring it to market. By its nature, the typical startup tends to by its nature, the typical startup tends to be a shoestring operation with initial funding from the founders or their friends and families. A business incubator is a company that helps new and startup companies to develop by providing services such as management training or office space. The National Business Incubation Association (NBIA) defines business incubators as a catalyst tool for either regional or national economic development. NBIA categorizes their members' incubators by the following five incubator types, which are academic institutions, non-profit development corporation, third one is for-profit property development ventures, fourth one is venture capital firms, and fifth one is combination of the above. There are 6 steps involved in setting up of a small business enterprise. Who do establish small business enterprises? Broadly, there are two types of people who establish small enterprises. One, people who want to take the advantages of opportunities available, and the two, people who have no option for making a livelihood. These two types of entrepreneurs are also termed as entrepreneurs by choice and entrepreneurs by compulsion, respectively. Starting an enterprise is not so simple and cannot be set up just. In fact, there are several steps involved in setting up a small business enterprise. These are the major ones. Okay, information collection, information organization, acquiring required or vocational skills, financial requirements, market assessment, and provision for crisis. Information collection. The first step involved is to decide which enterprise one wants to set up. This begins with collecting information about the units already working in that field of concern. This can be done by various ways, such as going through the telephone directories or by visiting the registrar's office of the small scale units. This will enable the prospective entrepreneur to make an assessment of the present market situation in that business activity. Based on this information, they can weigh the pros and cons involved in entering into that business activity. Second one is information organization. Having collected information about enterprise concerned, the prospective entrepreneur needs to organize the same in an orderly and systematic manner to derive the meanings from them. This will help to make assessment about the minimum requirements to start an enterprise in a particular business line. Third one is acquiring required vocational skills. The third step is to understand the need for upgrading one's vocational skills. If it is a prerequisite for your small enterprise unit SEU, that is small enterprise unit, the importance of acquisition of required skills is justified by the statement that it is better to teach a man to fish than to provide him with fish every day. Okay. Fourth one is financial requirements. The fourth step involved is ascertaining the financial requirements for setting up a small business enterprise. This is particularly important because generally small entrepreneurs do not have their own funds. Hence, they depend upon borrowed funds from family members or relatives or friends or financial institutions. Next one is market assessment. No business enterprise can be thought of without market. Enterprise exists, survives, and thrives because of market. Production has no value or meaning if it is not sold or marketed. Therefore, while planning for establishing a small business enterprise, the prospective entrepreneur needs to know who will buy his or her product. Sixth one is provision for crisis. The last but not least step involved in setting up a business enterprise is the preparedness to manage crisis situations, if any. Yes, some may not consider it as a necessary step because foreseeing foreseeing any crisis and its handling is simply an additional step. There are some location issues to consider like demographics, foot traffic, accessibility and parking, competition, proximity to other businesses, ordinances, utilities and other costs, room for growth. Demographics. We will go through one by one. Demographics. There are two important angles to the issues of demographics. One is your customers, the other is your employees. First, consider who your customers are and how important their proximity to your location is. For a retailer and some service providers, this is critical. For other types of businesses, it may not be as important. The demographic profile you have developed of your target market will help you make this decision. Then take a close look at the community. If your customer base is local, is the population large enough or does a sufficient percentage of that population match your customer profile to support your business? Does the community have a stable economic base that will provide a healthy environment for your business? Be cautious when considering communities that are largely dependent on a particular industry for their economy. A downturn could be a death knell for your company. Foot traffic. For most retail businesses, foot traffic is extremely important. You don't want to be tucked away in a corner where shoppers are likely to bypass you, and even the best retail areas have dead spots. By contrast, if your business requires confidentially, you may not want to be located in a high traffic area. Monitor the traffic outside a potential location at different times of the day and on different days of the week to make sure the volume of pedestrian traffic meets your needs. Accessibility and parking. Consider how accessible the facility will be for everyone who must use it: customers, employees, and suppliers. If you are on a busy street, how easy is it for cars to get in and out of your parking lot? Is the facility accessible to people with disabilities? What sort of deliveries are you likely to receive? And will your suppliers be able to easily and efficiently get materials to you? Small package couriers need to get in and out quickly. Trucking companies need adequate roads and loading docks if you are going to be receiving freight on pallets. Competition. Are competing companies located near your business? Sometimes competition can be good, such as in industries where comparison shopping is popular. That's why competing retail businesses such as fast food restaurants, antique shops, and clothing stores tend to cluster together. You may also catch the overflow from existing businesses, particularly if your company is located in a restaurant and entertainment area. But if a nearby competitor is only going to make your marketing job tougher, look elsewhere. Next is proximity to other businesses. Take a look at what other businesses and services are in the vicinity from two key perspectives. First, consider whether you can benefit from nearby businesses either by the customer traffic they generate or because those companies and their employees could become your customers or because it may be convenient and efficient for you to be their customer. Second is think about how they will enrich the quality of your company as a workplace. Is there an adequate selection of restaurants so your employees have places to go for lunch? Is there a nearby daycare center for employees with children? Are other shops and services you and your employees might want conveniently located? Now we will go through ordinances. Find out if any ordinances or zoning restrictions could affect your business in any way. Check for the specific location you are considering as well as neighboring prosperities. You probably don't want to nightclub opening up next to your day care center. The building's infrastructure, many older buildings do not have the necessary infrastructure to support the high-tech needs of contemporary operations. Be sure the building you are considering has adequate electrical, air conditioning and telecommunications services to meet your business's present and future needs. It is a good idea to hire an independent engineer to check this out for you so you are sure to have an objective evaluation. This is about utilities and other costs. Rent is certainly the major portion of your ongoing facilities. Rent is certainly the major portion of your ongoing facilities expense, but it is not all. Consider extras such as utilities. They are included in some leases but not in others. If they are not included, ask the utility company for a summary of the previous year's usage and billing for the site. Also find out what kind of security deposits the various utility providers require so you can develop an accurate move-in budget. However, you may not need a deposit if you have an established payment record with the company. If you have to provide your own janitorial service, what will it cost? What are insurance rates for the area? Do you have to pay extra for parking? Make sure you consider all your location related expenses and factor them into your decision. Room for growth. Look at the facility with an eye to the future. It's generally unwise to begin with more space than you need. But if you anticipate growth, be sure the facility you choose can accommodate you. If you want to download the PDF of this video, please visit our Telegram channel Civil Dunya. If you gain some knowledge from this video, please like it and subscribe this channel for more videos on entrepreneurship development as well as on civil engineering. Thanks for watching.